Guys, it's PhotoBeast here. Today I'm doing something that's not photography related, it's more electronic related. See this computer over here? I built that computer. So I consider myself somebody that's pretty handy, but I've never done a computer before. So my wife's looking at me kind of sideways over here. Did I say computer? Camera. I'm so nervous I said the wrong word. So I'm gonna hand the camera off to her and I'm gonna explain to you what's going on here. This is why we're here today, okay? The lens hood on the 150 to 600 was so tight, I had just taken out my CF Express card and I was downloading my pictures. I went like this, and when I did, I popped off the door. I called a bunch of camera repair shops. A lot of camera repair shops will not touch your camera. They want $800. The guy quoted me at $789. Now, the part itself you can pick up on eBay. If you do pick up the part, make sure that you get the whole door, because this is the part of the door that broke off. So over here you can see here was a tab, here was a tab. I actually had to take this little piece of tab off so that this one, I could bend this so the spring loaded piece would stay down, because every time this pops up, even with tape on it, what will happen is it makes it so the camera will not cut on. I talked to a guy that's already opened up the whole camera. Basically, the hot shoe becomes loose after putting your flash on and off a few times. This will become loose inside of there. So what he's done is he has two Canon R5s. He's taken them apart, put the screws back up in there with Loctite, blue Loctite. Don't use the red stuff because you'll never get the screws off ever again with red. But for right now, I just want to see if I take out this screw, and there's 4 or 5 screws under here. If I take out those couple of screws, will this piece come out and then allow me to put the new one in? But with this, do you see what we're working with here? It should be doable with taking a couple screws out of here and a couple screws out of here. First things first, get yourself a good screwdriver set, because you're going to need it. You cannot do this with a shoddy screwdriver set. You can get this screwdriver set. It's called Chopin, Amazon, 10 bucks. It comes with picks, comes with a magnetizer. Everything you need is in here. This is what I've been doing to hold me over, is I've been using electrical tape just to hold me over. But I'm going to reuse this electrical tape in about 2 minutes, and you'll see why, because I have to bend back this stuff. So what you have to do is you have to pull this piece off here, and this is where stuff gets nerve-wracking, because you do have to take your camera semi apart, and this is the part that nobody really wants to deal with. And then we get this little piece, that one's busted over here. There are so many shadows in this room already. And I should move the keyboard out of the way. I guess I don't need a keyboard if I'm not typing. This thing's, I'm just deleting some duplicates out of my video card. I recently put all my video files in one card. So you want to make sure you get this flap here at the same time so you don't snap that off. Pull this, take it, get a piece of tape, grab it here, and then tape it down. Just like that. That way you're not touching and touching and touching and touching the glue so many times. Now see, this screw, this screw, this screw, this screw, I don't think we need to deal with all those screws, and these screws are already in it, so that shouldn't be a problem. If anything, looking at this here, I would think that this screw and this screw are the only two that need to come out, because this is all aligned there. So let's first take those 2 screws out. And there's number 1. We'll set him over here in the box. Number 2, set him in the box. So from what I'm seeing, this should only be about 3, or actually about 4 screws. So we have 2 here that we know about, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possible screws. I don't know if every one of these gets a screw, but we'll know when we take this piece, take that one down. So the next thing we're going to have to do is peel this rubber back. And this is the part that's kind of sucky, but remember that it's either do this and somebody else is going to do the exact same thing, or you're going to have to spend $800. And what are we seeing here? That is not where I would want it to be, because that would be there. See, this feels like it wants to come off, but it's all connected to this, which is all one big piece. See, because this camera's weather sealed, this is where the problem is. It's just one of those things where you're going to have to remove every freaking screw, and then there's a screw here, 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 and here, and then there's a screw there, and a screw there. And then you're done with all the screws. So I'm like, maybe I should just keep going then. I mean, I've gotten this far. So right now, this is the back of the camera. I'm going to go ahead and take this one out. That's the door. This is the door. Alright. And they're two different sizes too. Alright, door. At this point, I'm going to pause, get a piece of paper, and start writing this down. Because I got about 8 more screws to go, and I don't want to mess anything up. So go ahead and pause it. Let me just hit stop. Alright, so I went ahead and took a piece of paper. I wrote down my CF Express area, because you do have smaller to bigger screws. For instance, over here where I have the 4 and the 3 on the bottom, the very back one has a long one. There's a guy named Bernard Alexis. He did the Canon R5 hot shoe repair. He's an ordinary guy like me, works for a living, and he don't have a bunch of money for them to take these cameras apart. So right now I got the 4 out of the bottom. I'm sorry, 7 out of the bottom, 4 out of one side, 3 out of the other. I got the 1 out of the battery port. I got the 2 out of the locks. One side has the on-off switch right here. One side has the lock piece right there, which is over here. And it's just a matter of just taking your time and getting these screws out. This is the eyepiece. This is the eyepiece here. So what I want to do is put a circle and just be very easy. This is for the eyepiece right there, where the viewfinder is. See what I mean? It's not the best picture, but it lets me know that that's the viewfinder. And just be aware that the more screws you pull out, the more stuff you're going to be knocking over. And to gingerly get this stuff, because remember, that one at the end is the long one. That goes there. Where's my long screw? Long screw, you go in the back. This little guy goes here. So there's 3 little guys here, 3 little guys there, and these are all the same size. So I'm not too worried about mixing these up, but make sure that you get a decent magnetic screwdriver. Now back to the viewfinder eyepiece. For this one, I did have to step down my screwdriver to a smaller bit. I'm using a PHOO or a PHO, and we're just going to dig this little eyepiece out. I'm using his video as kind of a guide, because he's doing his step by step. It's just a matter of taking all these screws out, and trust me, there is a ton of screws. Now, if you're worried about the screws not going back in, they will go back in. If you're worried about the sticky not working, it will stick. Trust me, it will stick, because I did take mine apart before to check out the screws in here one time before, and it went back on just fine. The adhesive, especially once it warms up, it will become very sticky again. So I'm going to move him and hit the little video back.
I'm sure what your skill set.
How many videos on YouTube have you ever watched of a guy watching YouTube? Don't get any better than this, y'all. Does not get any better than this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 screws here. So this is going to be the rest of my eyepiece, and I have to be very careful here. So here is my eyepiece again. And then I have a screw here, a screw here, a screw here, and then this is my viewfinder knob. Okay? And I have to make this look like the eyepiece, and mine has 2 little scratches on it. Now when I pull my hand up, make sure I don't knock that over. Yeah, this has a little scratch on it. Pisses me off. Maybe it'd be easy to open one day and I can just switch that out. But for right now, let's just breathe calmly and little by little. Because the R5 is technically not doing well with the way that it's set up now. I can't take it much more. It shuts off on me all the time when I'm taking pictures. And alright, so this was already loose. That was strange. I didn't even get to it yet and it was loose. There we go. We got one, which is going to be right next to the eyepiece. Get these bottom 2 out, and I think this is all the screws, guys. I really do. There's 1 or 2 on the other side. It's not too bad. Like I said, you got about 20 screws in total, but once you start it, as long as you write down little diagrams, it's really... It's nerve-wracking to a certain extent. If this was my friend's camera, I wouldn't be so worried. But this is my baby. I want nothing to happen to it. So I also, in a way, you know, there's an old saying, if you want something done right, do it yourself. I know that I'm going to put this back together right. And I'm also going to clean it a little bit with some Q-tips and stuff, because it is kind of dirty. Wildlife photography, there we go, see? Now, this should, there's some more screws in here I have to take out before it comes 100% apart, but I want to know why this damn thing is not coming off, man. You know, it's just stuck on there for some reason, and I'm like, why do I have to take the whole thing apart? And she's still stuck on there. So I'm going to have to take the screws out of this side too. So there are some screws in here, I think here and here. So let me look and see what he does.
Level is, but if you're confident with, to get them going. But as you can see, I'm literally just peeling it back. It's right by the R5 sign.
Right here by the R5 sign.
And, you know, just kind of nice and gentle so you don't rip it or damage it.
This is the last little bit, guys.
Little piece off. And what it does is it exposes those screws for you to take out.
That's the last 3 screws right there. So I need to figure out what's the best way to get the R5 one off. And it's this whole solid piece right here. So I could start in here. See if I can pick and gingerly pull this. It sucks, it does. Nobody wants to take their camera apart. You know, I'm not gonna lie. This is not my idea of a good time. But I know one thing, I'm never gonna sell this camera now. This camera is a part of me. Oh no, I just tapped the paper. Everything's still where it needs to be though. Okay, long screw, let me fix you. Long screw wants to keep rolling around acting silly. So. There it goes again. I do know out of all these silly screws over here, long screw. Let's go. So we got 3 screws left, guys. 3. 1, 2. Where the hell is 3? I don't see 3. 3. Okay. So our last thing we need to do is HDMI has a screw right here. Okay, that's my black screw. Alright, let's take him out. I don't want my sticky to be touching every damn thing. There's HDMI. Then we have lightning bolt screw. Looks like the logo for Kiss. Put a screw there. She don't hear you. Alright, and after this, we have one little screw left. And then this is where I didn't want to have to go this far. R5. Alright, we got a last screw. Now every screw has been removed. I haven't done a screw count because I lost count a long time ago. But here we are. Now, try this again. This is where everything should just kind of poop apart here. Let's go here. I don't know if I'm still stuck or not, but I feel like I'm still stuck. What's in here? There is a screw in the HDMI port right there. So let me push that back. There's HDMI under and then inside of the HDMI. This one will go under the flap. Okay. So let me check the rest of these and make sure. There are no more screws. I don't see any here, there, anywhere else. So this was the last one, holding everything together. Now this is where you have to be super careful because there is a strip holding your electronics together right here. See? There it goes. And we're open, but this is the little tab that if you undo this tab, it should pop right off. Now, I don't want to take all that apart. I just want to see why is this damn thing still hooked on here, and what do I need to do to get this off because it's still here. It's the craziest thing. It does not want to come off. That is weird, man. Because this one here, let's look and see what's going on here. So there's probably, from what I'm guessing, something in here holding it together. Yep, more screws. There they are. So this is where shit gets real tricky, because you can either A, take out these screws, or you can undo this tab here. I'm going to figure out how to undo the tab and take it apart and then put the tab back on, okay? I'll be right back, guys. Yeah, there's some screws holding that fucker together. That tab's supposed to pop right off. Alright, so I'm going to pry this little piece off here. Okay, we just popped it off. That snaps back down onto there. So it's a pain lining it up, but from what he said, it's a pain, but it's not a pain. Now, this would be the time that you would change out your glass. And I wish I had a new one because I would put it in now. And but if you look, this thing is still held together by more screws in here. So now we know if you break your CF Express car door, there is no way. Whoa, let me not break the new one. No way, and I repeat, no way that you're going to get a new one in here. So I'm going to have to attach this to this. I saw some with these attached to it. So now let me gingerly take these 3 screws out. Oh my gosh, man. I didn't know it was going to be this deep. But bottom screw, better write it down. That's the bottom. Then there's 2 and 3. Let me be very careful there. Okay. This does not help. I'm half blind, and we live in a 100-year-old house with lots of wonderful shadows. It's killing me here. I am very, very, very blind. What is going on now? Ay, ay, ay. Now, there are electronics hooked up to this. So this is where you have to be super, super careful, because you remember the door cuts the camera on and off? This is why everything costs so much freaking money. So let me just pull that out, and there we go. Just like that. There's our broken door. Let's take our new door and put him, actually he's going to go, does it go this way? No, it goes this way, doesn't it? See, this is where stuff gets real confusing for me, because I'm blind, and I would think that it would go this way. See, I have to watch this ribbon right here, because that ribbon is where all the power came from, which just came off of that, which now I'm confused as to what I did. I thought it comes in here. Damn it. I don't remember what I just did. I'm so freaking lost. Alright, so, oh my gosh, man. I got too far ahead of myself. This is going to go this way, no matter what, right? And then there were some screws that were holding it down, right? Why does this look different from this to me? Let me shut this. I think that's what's throwing me off, is the door being open. It was like this. Yes. That's how it was, like this. But this thing slid down in here. Oh man. No, it goes this way. It does go that way, and I know it goes that way because that screw goes in there. That falls into place like that. See? There we go. And then this guy sets in there like that. See? I got it. Okay. Whew. I did it. It was just a matter of seating it just right without busting that ribbon out. And that way, what happens is, see these little tabs? There's little nipples in there. So set your tabs and nipples in there. That's that. Now, let's do this really quick, okay? Our middle screw goes in the, oh shit. Middle screw in the middle. Middle is right here. This screw went on the top. Once we get over this little hump, I think we're going to be good to go. What do you think, Sharon?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be able to do this without Sharon's help. She fed me a nice dinner of chili and cornbread. It really, really gave me the energy I needed. Okay, let's see. I can't believe that I broke that door.
Let's see.
Look at that. Ha-ha! Can't even tell. It's like a perfect match. I mean, I don't have a door on this one, and I think that's what was throwing me off, is not seeing the door.
Yeah, I was thinking the same.
Yeah, I couldn't see the door, and then this piece is kind of warped on this one. Everything got munked up, so it's nice to have that back. And for a $50 part, I will put the link in the description. So if you broke your door, just know. Now, like I was stating earlier, this is the time right now that if you want to change your viewfinder, fix the scratches on your viewfinder, all that lovely stuff. I've got some baby scratches right here, but I'm just going to leave mine. Now, if you want to go in and tighten up your stuff, now's the time to do it. Your hot shoe. My hot shoe was barely used. I don't really run a flash with this. The big flashes are what make the hot shoe loose, the big flashes. I run a remote trigger and I have a large flash. So I haven't really dogged out the screws on that. So I'm not going to do that and take that apart. Now, the next thing I want to do is take this, get it out my face. I'm so glad to actually have this back in working condition. Now for the fun part. Now I have to line this little guy up, and this is where I am actually going to use a flashlight and honey, you're pulling out my teeth, baby. I know you're trying to help, but that hurt. You can't slide it across my teethies.
Is that too much light?
No, it's actually, I can't see shit light is what it is. I need to be able to set it up flush and be able to look from the side, and it should, there it goes. See, it's popped right back on. Nice and tight. Don't push too hard either. And now we're gonna set our camera and we're gonna close it. But before I go doing any other stupid stuff, right, and putting all these 300 screws back, I'm gonna put a battery in here and make sure that that connection works and that it's on. The last thing you wanna do, and I watch these guys in the videos, is put all the screws back. And I read horror stories where people, I took mine apart and then I put it back together and my piece wasn't hook connected enough. They had to take all the screws back out. Can you imagine doing this all over again for no reason? So let's grab a battery. I know it like goes down, there it is. It's like a super simple way. But grab your battery pack, make sure that's on, and make sure you flip your viewfinder around and that you have power. See, I have power, but the viewfinder needs to work. And it's working.
We're in business.
So all we have to do is put the screws back, put our sticky back, and look, the door works.
That's awesome.
So, all right. So let's start knocking these screws out. I'm gonna put the screws back. I'll let you guys take a breath and think about if you want to do this with your camera. But I can honestly say,
That was not worth $800 worth of work.
nah, I would have been pissed off paying $250 for this. I understand. Now, the whole thing, in my honest opinion, taking out the screws are pretty easy with the right screwdriver. I paid $10 for this, Amazon, 10 bucks. And I paid $50 for the new part. So all in all, I got 60 bucks in. If I wasn't filming this and I was just rolling through it and I pre-prepped my piece of paper, that would take me 2 minutes. I'd have to say, literally, I could knock all these screws out in 10 minutes and have it back together in 10 minutes. If I was rolling, I could have been done in less than half an hour, okay? That's an honest assessment of time. I think that it's definitely worth trying to do yourself. Thank you. I hope that you have enough faith in yourself. I have enough faith in you that you can do it. We know that you can, so go out there and try it. We'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and God bless. Thanks, honey, for filming it.